State your passion. Welcome to the online module, a program overview of Illinois State University's field-based program. Thank you for being a cooperating teacher, and we'd like to share a little bit about our program with you. The field-based program is offered the semester prior to student teaching and affords the teacher candidate the opportunity to blend theory with practical application. The field-based program is comprised of two major components: clinical experiences and instructional modules. Reflective teaching practices are a strong component of both the instructional module and in the clinical experience. Your setting provides an opportunity for the teacher candidate to experience the comprehensive roles and responsibilities of a special education teacher, observation of effective teaching models, and diverse student populations. Instructional modules meet 1 day per week and are designed to provide the theoretical and practical knowledge base that is necessary for the teacher candidate to become a competent professional. The weekly module sessions are conducted for the duration of the semester and are taught by Illinois State University faculty and selected experts in the special education field. In addition to attending the previously learned theoretical base obtained from coursework, the modules provide a forum for each teacher candidate to share the rich experiences that are unfolding at his or her site. The reporting of authentic clinical experiences provides the teacher candidate with practice in analysis, synthesis, and evaluation of theory and best practices. Now, let's learn a little bit more about our program. Field-based program overview. The following topics will be discussed in greater detail as we progress through the slides. Our hope is that this will be a resource for you to better understand our program and allow you to support your teacher candidate. In the clinical experience, we will be discussing the candidate's assumption of responsibilities, the co-teaching and teaching schedule, weekly reflections, lesson plans, data collection, ongoing planning, and non-teaching responsibilities. With the topic of essential applications, the teacher candidate will evidence these standards through his or her daily performance in the clinical setting, active participation in instructional activities during weekly module sessions, and the successful completion of the essential application activities. These activities are designed to mirror the curricular, instructional, and legal mandates to which special education teachers are accountable. This is why we don't call them projects, but essential applications. The teacher candidate is required to design, implement, and assess the following essential application activities in the clinical setting: an evidence-based practice, or EBP, a practice EdTPA, and an IEP project. Cooperating teacher, that's you. Thank you again. The resources that are available to the cooperating teacher are the Cooperating Teacher Manual, which your candidate should email to you at the onset of the semester, and there will be a university supervisor that comes to your site for observation, and the field-based coordinator. The teacher candidate will report to their assigned clinical site 4 days per week to gain practical experience and to complete standards-based activities under the daily mentorship of the cooperating teacher. Teacher candidates will integrate all previous knowledge and skills in applied settings and practice the role of a special educator to the full extent possible with the mentorship of you, the cooperating teacher, along with the university supervisor and field-based coordinator. The university supervisor works collaboratively with the cooperating teacher to facilitate the design of the teacher candidate's experiences and to discuss their progress and performance. The supervisor will gather authentic assessment data regarding the teacher candidate's performance by conducting scheduled observations at the clinical site. Cooperating teacher as a mentor. As a mentor, you play a critical role in modeling evidence-based practices and providing the appropriate level of support for the teacher candidate to be able to advance their independence. Collaboration is at the core of the cooperating teacher's responsibilities, and they are asked to maintain ongoing objective assessment of the teacher candidate's performance and to communicate the performance data to the teacher candidates and university supervisor. We hope that you will collaborate with teacher candidates regarding policies, procedures, student curriculum, instruction, and more. We also have an online module that's dedicated to mentoring, feedback, and coaching, so please check that out as well. In terms of feedback and coaching, there are informal and formal opportunities for feedback. Informal opportunities would be setting up time to discuss with your candidate how you thought they did during a lesson, responding to their questions, as well as formal feedback where you are offered a weekly reflection that the teacher candidate will submit and ask you to review their comments and reflect on their professional growth over the past week. The teacher candidate will complete the bottom portion of the form, demonstrating thoughtful, reflective analysis of their performance. Another opportunity for formal feedback is the evaluation that will be conducted at midterm and final. Feedback from the cooperating teacher is valued and considered when determining the final grade. The standards-based competencies align with the Charlotte-Danielson framework and are the primary tool for teacher evaluation in public schools. As such, teacher candidates are expected to evidence beginning teacher readiness skills commensurate with the 4 domains provided in the Danielson framework. Philosophically, module and clinical practice are viewed as a gestalt, an integrated whole, rather than 2 separate experiences running concurrently. In your cooperating teacher handbook, you will see a copy of the midterm rubric that is also used at the final as well. We ask that cooperating teachers complete their rubric, and field-based candidates will complete their rubric independently and then come together to discuss the ratings that each of you assigned for those indicators and have a conversation around their professional growth. The next section, Theory to Practice, Clinical Experience, will focus on the expectations for the field-based candidate while they are in your classroom. The level of independence continuum. The goal is for field-based candidates to increase their level of independence over the course of the 16-week placement. As a standards-based program, the teacher candidate is expected to independently evidence the knowledge, performance, and disposition standards by the conclusion of the field-based program. As you can see at the beginning of the semester, there is a great deal of mentoring and very little independence. As the teacher candidate is learning all about your classroom, the learners that you teach, and the expectations of the field-based program. As the semester progresses, they should become more independent and require less mentoring. This visual is to help the candidate self-assess their own level of independence throughout the semester. At the end of the semester, a determination is made regarding the teacher candidate's overall performance and preparedness for advancing on to student teaching. As the teacher candidate assumes additional planning, teaching, and assessment responsibilities, it is expected that the candidate will evidence increased independence with developing and accessing resources beyond collaboration solely with the cooperating teacher, university supervisor, or program coordinator. Assumption of responsibilities. In order to set the field-based candidate up for success, we ask that you consider the assumption of teaching responsibilities schedule at the beginning of the semester. Direct instruction of limited components of the curriculum of diverse student populations with an emphasis on authentic data collection and differentiated instruction. We ask that our field-based candidates begin with observing you teach and then co-planning and co-teaching the first content area with you as they begin to learn the content and understand the needs of your learners. They will then begin to independently plan and teach lessons. Once the first content area has been assumed, an additional area will be added roughly every month so that by the end of the semester, they will have taken over content areas 1, 2, and 3. So those content areas, initially the teacher candidate will plan and teach one content area and then advance to the concurrent planning and teaching for 3 or more content areas as determined by the cooperating teacher and university supervisor. By the end of the clinical placement, the teacher candidate will have assumed at least 3 concurrent areas in preparation for their student teaching experience. Any modification to this requirement will rest with the university supervisor. The cognition of teaching is a development and understanding of the professional cognition of teaching model, provides the foundation for our field-based program. While in previous semesters, teacher candidates gain knowledge of theory and practice while applying professional disposition standards, the current semester advances the development of independent, critical thinking, and decision-making regarding best practice while consistently evidencing a professional disposition. Lesson planning. Each educational site may mandate different service delivery models, resulting in different planning needs, modifications, and/or adaptations to the required expectations. The university supervisor may approve modifications or adaptations following collaboration with the cooperating teacher. However, most teacher candidates will write lesson plans either in the Madeline Hunter format or systematic plans. Lesson plan alignment. The teacher candidate will design, implement, and assess instructional plans for 3 content areas or instructional groups by the end of the semester. The process and content of the instructional plans will follow the guidelines established by the Illinois State University and will include the relationship to the learner's IEP, new Illinois learning standards, and the district or classroom curriculum. The teacher candidate will evaluate an appropriate continuum of instruction and maintain data regarding the learner's progress towards their goals and objectives as outlined in their IEP. They will also submit instructional plans to be graded. A total of 6 instructional plans will be graded by the university supervisor. All plans that are written for the EdTPA learning segment may not be submitted for a grade or observed. Additionally, lesson plans that have been observed by the university supervisor may not be submitted for a grade. Ongoing planning. The teacher candidate is expected to plan at least 2 plans in advance for each lesson and submit these plans according to this timeline to the cooperating teacher so that you have time to review and offer feedback before they begin instruction. We do ask that you initial and date the plans when they were given to you as a way for us to document the candidates were planned in advance. Given that learner performance may alter the advanced planning, the teacher candidate is to review each subsequent plan for its appropriateness and make any necessary adjustments prior to actually teaching. Evidence of adjustments to future instructional plans will be dated and noted directly on the future plan with highlights or by attaching post-it notes with the modifications or handwritten modifications. Please note, and this is important, a teacher candidate is not permitted to teach if instructional plans are not developed and submitted to the cooperating teacher according to the university timelines, and or if they haven't analyzed or included daily student performance data, because this is what they use to inform future instructional planning that is appropriate. Analysis of learner performance data will drive the development of differentiated instructional plans and subsequently the selection of evidence-based teaching methods and assessments. Reflective teaching practices will advance the planning process to ensure appropriate research-based strategies are employed to accommodate the individual needs of each learner. The teacher candidate will use the cognition of teaching model to differentiate instruction and evidence best practice. In doing so, the teacher candidate will be demonstrating knowledge, performance, and disposition standards. Now moving on to non-teaching responsibilities. Interaction with students in structured and unstructured settings and documentation of student performance within these diverse settings. At a minimum, teacher candidates should evidence active engagement, completely engaged in the learning environment. Teacher candidates are not to work on their ISU responsibilities unless it is during a planning time and all other responsibilities have been met. Additionally, teacher candidates should be grading and maintaining accurate records, attending all professional meetings such as team meetings, department meetings, and/or faculty meetings, whenever appropriate, IEP meetings so that teacher candidates can begin to understand what their role will be in a very short time, parent-teacher conferences, and any other professional development opportunities that you might be attending at your school. We would ask that the field-based candidate can also attend with you. Information that is gleaned from these professional engagements will be incorporated into the teacher candidate's weekly reflections and professional behaviors. As appropriate, the information should also be embedded into their daily practice. It is our goal that teacher candidates begin to see the full scope of responsibilities that are assumed by a special educator. Now we will move into the section describing the essential applications in more detail. The first essential applications that teacher candidates will begin is the evidence-based practice. This is an application that is designed to provide the teacher candidate with an opportunity to administer authentic assessment instruments, analyze data, and contribute to the development and monitoring of student performance. In the development, implementation, and assessment of the essential application, teacher candidates will choose appropriate means of assessment to obtain comprehensive information regarding a child or adolescent's educational abilities, analyze the data to articulate an operational definition which aligns with the student needs, design and implement evidence-based strategies, and apply results by reporting the student's present levels of performance. Specifically, the essential application permits teacher candidates to practice preparation for an annual review meeting for a singular student. Teacher candidates assess a student in eligible areas under the current IEP, discern their present levels of performance, and analyze the results relative to the IEP and daily classroom performance. The purpose of the application is for the teacher candidate to demonstrate initiative within the school community regarding data collection in academic behavioral areas of need. Teacher candidates will document an opportunity and their placement that will broaden their knowledge and skills in instruction and authentic collection of data on one learner. For the one focus learner that was chosen, teacher candidates will use the Riot ISIL matrix to choose one academic or behavioral goal area for one student. They'll review the records, interview appropriate staff, observe and possibly test the learner, and consider instruction, curriculum, and environment as well as the learner. They will choose an academic or behavior intervention that is connected to the IEP if appropriate. If it's not appropriate, then a justification needs to be made to the university supervisor as to why they'll be working on something that is not in the IEP. Then they will collect baseline data either through data currently available or through an assessment that is created by the teacher candidate. Select an evidence-based practice, and then begin to implement the intervention. They will identify a data collection tool and use for the intervention implementation for approximately 8 days. They will then analyze the data and consider next steps and propose a goal and objectives for future IEP. EdTPA practice. The EdTPA is a performance-based assessment that is required for licensure during student teaching. It is a nationally available assessment of readiness to teach for novices, and the assessment is focused on student learning and is designed around the principles applied by successful teachers, such as developing a knowledge of subject matter, developing and applying knowledge of students and their varied needs, considering research and theory about how students learn, and then to reflect and act on evidence of the effects of their instruction on student learning. Teacher candidates will be implementing the EdTPA as one of their required assignments during their field-based semester. They will plan and implement a 5-lesson learning segment, assess student learning, and analyze their teaching. Candidates will submit lesson plans, instructional materials, student work samples, assessment data, and have commentaries for Task 1, Planning for Instruction, Task 2, Instruction and Engagement, and Task 3, Assessment and Analysis. During the field-based semester, candidates are guided through a practice EdTPA that is graded on department expectations prior to independently completing in a different setting during student teaching. IEP Case Study. The purpose of this application is for the teacher candidate to demonstrate the ability to work on a team and develop an individualized education program. For a student, they are provided a case study, and candidates will develop pieces of the IEP in draft form that could be done before an IEP meeting. They will work together to complete pieces of an IEP that would be done collaboratively at a meeting during module and be able to present their ideas. Teacher candidates will broaden their knowledge and skills in developing all components of an IEP. Central to the education of students with disabilities, it is the development and implementation of the IEP. As a culminating activity after the group component is completed, the field-based candidates will participate in an annual review simulation, which is a fishbowl activity. So the group that completed the paperwork will participate in a mock IEP meeting with the coordinators acting as parents and going through the IEP process, and then having some time to debrief and discuss afterwards. Again, we would like to take this time to thank you so much for hosting an ISU field-based candidate. We truly are grateful for your partnership and are so grateful for everything that you do to help mentor, encourage, and guide future teachers. We do hope that you would be interested in joining the conversation and join us at Flipgrid. If you go to flipgrid.com/ISUCT, you can participate in a conversation about having ISU field-based candidates with other cooperating teachers in the Chicagoland area. So we hope that you will go to that site. You just need a camera either on your phone or iPad, laptop, so that we can see you and hear your thoughts about hosting field-based candidates. Or if you use QR codes, there's a QR code at the bottom of the screen that will also allow you to access that site. Please do reach out to us if you have any additional questions, comments, feedback. We really do love hearing from our cooperating teachers, as you are the ones who help inform our practice. If you have a teacher candidate that's in the Chicagoland area, you can contact Courtney File or myself, Crystal Lewis-Pratl. If you have a field-based candidate that's in CPS, then Ashley Walensky-Norton is who you would contact, and her email is there. Please also consider following us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, where you can see pictures of all of the things that we are doing in module on those days that the candidates aren't at your site. Thanks again. We appreciate you and hope you have a wonderful year.